it's like a roller coaster. The emotions is just crazy. You don't know how you're gonna feel from 1 minute to the next.
Hi everyone, it's Dr. Tosh and Wiley Funeral Homes, and we're here at our house in Baltimore. We want to say thank you to our special sponsors for this series, Noisy Tenants. Now, the thing I love about Noisy Tenants is how much they believe in community, and they believe that each and every community should dream loud and make it real. Again, we say thank you. And so we're back to talk about our series. It's all about mental health and the Black man. And I'm excited to have my friend Rodney Motes with me here. So Rodney, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to talk about this. So could you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
My name is Rodney Motes, and I'm a landscape manager at Coppin University.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. And now, today we're going to have a conversation about your journey as a Black man and experiencing a lot of loss. So could you tell me a little bit about what loss and grief has been like for you growing up and then into an adult man?
It was rough.
Yeah.
I mean, but you just had to push through it. Like,
yeah.
It's kind of hard to explain, like, because you don't feel like nobody been through what you've been through before, so you don't really want to talk about it to nobody because it's like they can't help you anyway. So it's kind of hard, like talking about it and thinking about it. But it get to a point where you gotta just push past that.
Yeah. So I've heard that before. You know, it's like I don't necessarily talk about these things because someone else can't tell you what it's like, you know, or they haven't lost as many people.
Experienced it.
Yeah.
Like, you can't, how can you relate or have advice? That's how I used to look at it. You can't tell me something about a situation if you've never been through it before.
Yeah, absolutely. And I understand you experienced losing a lot of friends growing up. And so was this when you were a kid? Was this into adulthood or a mixture of both?
It was around, I think I was around 17 or 18 when it first started.
Wow, okay. And you started losing friends to violence. And, you know, something that people say a lot is you kind of become numb, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not that you don't care about your friends, but you really do become numb because a part of you in the back of your mind is sometimes even like, I'm just waiting for the next call to hear about this friend. Or you become numb to, if I've lost this many friends and I'm still standing, then I'm just supposed to push past it.
Now it's to the point where, like, if somebody passes away from that type of way, it's just like, all right, like, I'm ready to move on. After you tell me, it's like, okay, I'm gonna tell you I'm sorry, but like, I don't know how to console you. I'm not gonna be able to because like I done been through it so many times. I'm not. Yeah. It might be hard for you to go through it, but like for me, it's like walking to the corner store and coming right back.
Right.
Like I done been to the store so many times. So
that's a really good way to paint that. I've been to the store so many times that sometimes the way I'm consoling you might not make sense to you. Because I've been through it. I don't know how to console you anymore because I've experienced this so much. Right. Wow. That's heavy. That's heavy. So when you hear that someone has passed, you've lost someone to violence, right? And it's like, you know, I'm sorry, and then you're kind of ready to move past it. How did you get to that point of just becoming numb to that?
Keep going through it multiple times.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, it's kind of hard, but.
No, you're doing it. I mean, I get it. I get the picture that you're painting. Yeah, I do. So let me ask you this. Do you feel like it's written that way for Black men to experience so much loss? Like just how society is set up, just how, if you know. Okay.
Because everybody make their own choices. Like you can choose not to go that way in life. It's, you know, some people they born it's going to be that way, but for the most part, The majority of people make the choice to do that. It's not, they don't have to.
Right, okay. So, you know, I look at it sometimes as the people who are like the survivors, right? You have this thing sometimes called survivor's remorse, where do you ever feel like why all of them and not me? Like, I must know that I'm really special. I'm here for a purpose.
Yeah, I used to feel like that sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to feel all types of different ways.
Yeah.
Sometimes I used to feel like, well, maybe if I go act crazy enough, I can go with them, but
Yep.
you know what I mean?
Yep.
But then you got, like I said, it's a process. It's like a roller coaster, for real. You just gotta get over the humps.
Yep.
You gotta make it to the end
Yep.
of the ride.
Yeah. You just said something that I've heard more than one person say, which is, I'm thinking, you know, to myself, if I just go act like this, I can go with them.
Yeah, because you feel like honestly, besides my blood family, I feel like I'm roaming the earth alone. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm cool with it now, but at one point, and like all my homeboys, you couldn't catch one of us without the other.
Mm-hmm.
We were all together
Mm-hmm.
every day, all day,
Mm-hmm.
anything. Like,
Mm-hmm.
even if I had to go see my mother, at least one
It's
of
coming
them
with
was
you.
gonna be with me. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like, just feel like you here, like I said, besides my regular family. But
Yeah.
that's it.
And I'm picturing what you're saying is a very common thing, right? Of
Yeah.
feeling like I'm really, as I'm losing my friends, because your friends, like your real friends,
Yeah,
that's
see,
the family that you build.
That's another thing too. Like, they were real. Like, people say people are their friends, but we were real friends. Like,
Mm-hmm.
they could go to my mother's house and go in the refrigerator,
Yep.
sleep on the floor,
Mm-hmm.
anything. Like, it didn't matter. And I could go to their mother's house and do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just, like I said, after 2 or 3, it's like, damn, I mean, I've been here before. Like, I don't want to go through it again, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not like I haven't been through it. So
Mhm.
that's where the numbness coming at.
Absolutely. And would you have painted them as your friends or as your brothers?
Brothers, we was all brothers.
Absolutely. And so that's not just loss of friends, that's loss of people who you've been able to give that title of family. Because everybody
Yeah.
doesn't get to go in your mom's house
Right,
and,
you're right about
and
that.
you know,
and
go in the
that's why
refrigerator.
I said, like, nowadays people use the word friends so loosely. You gotta say they're your brothers or family. 'cause
Absolutely. Because everybody can't do that. And so then let me ask you this. Fast forward to now, right, in present day, because you said, I feel like I'm roaming this earth alone other than my family, right? Is it hard for you to build friendships now? Like real friendships?
I really couldn't answer that question because I haven't tried, honestly.
And is there a part of you in the back of your mind that feels like, I'm not going to build these friendships because I know what happened to my brothers?
I mean, no, because it's sometimes I honestly sit back and think like, I mean, it's people that consider me a friend,
Right.
but I don't like, I just can't give them the same thing that they, because I done been through it already. Like,
Yeah.
they be like, where your friends? Somebody asked me where my friends at, they with me, they here.
Yeah, yeah. That's heavy. And do you ever sit back and think about how heavy that is? Like, I know there's a part of you that's like, it's life. You get numb to it. But do you have those days when you're like, I've been through it?
Sometimes, but I mean, I'm not the only person that I know that been through this, so it's like, if I ever get in that mode, I go hang with somebody that I know been through it. Like, you see what I'm saying?
Okay,
So
yep, I get it.
that make it a little easier
Yeah,
or I just go to the graveyard. 'Cause
Yeah.
all of my homeboys buried in the same area, so I just go
Really?
sit out there.
was that on purpose? Like their parents, etc.?
Well, after the first one, the first 2, they died 30 days apart. So it was like, that was 2 funerals
In a month.
In a month. So it was, that one was kind of done. But then the third one, it was like, I don't think it was done, the third one was done purposely, but it's right there.
So something you said, which is if I get like that, the first thing, one of the things you can do, you can go to the graveyard and see your brothers and talk to your brothers and feel your brothers, right? Because I'm a believer in, they're there. When you're talking to them, whatever the sign is you get, that they're there. But then you also can talk to people who have experienced something similar. So you get to build this community, right?
I mean, but it's like, it's people that have been through, but not to the
your
extent. Like, it's, and like people come to me sometimes like that I watch go through it, like recently, and it's like, I can tell that they don't have it together. Like, you loose in your head, but I'm not the type of person that's just gonna come out and be like, I'm here for you, because I can't, sometimes I be needing to be here for myself. So
that's right.
It'd be hard, like, watching somebody else go through it, but like, then that's where the numbness kick in.
Yep.
Like, well, you had to find your way to deal with it, because I found my way to deal with it.
Yep.
Like, it's like a roller coaster. The emotions is just crazy. You don't know how you're gonna feel from 1 minute to the next.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, do you think that a part of it too, in that numbness or how you have to find your way, is what you were taught as a man? Like, this is what this is how men's supposed to deal with it.
Yeah, to some extent, yeah.
Okay, because I feel like sometimes in society, if a woman is more emotional about it, it's a little more accepted, right? Not necessarily always accepted when men are maybe emotional through tears, crying, or something like that. But do you feel like society has said that men's supposed to grieve a certain type of way?
It used to be that. I see it changing,
Agreed.
Honestly. It used to be like that, but now it's like, you gotta understand, like, people go through a lot in life. Like, just because, like, you could see a man crying, and you could tell him he weak or whatever, but these days you could see a man crying, and you tell that to him, and he gonna show you, like, no.
Absolutely, it's changed. Absolutely.
It's not what you see, like,
yep.
It's definitely not that.
Absolutely.
So it's like, I think people learn to accept, or not learn to accept, but they're opening up more to seeing emotional men, but it's too late, honestly. Like, because if a man, as a kid, your father will tell you, stop crying, boy, shut up.
Yep.
So it's like, you can't.
Absolutely.
You can't duck or hide the fact that
we did that. It's what we taught our kids, and that's the theme of teaching boys, don't cry. It's for girls. Don't stop crying.
Now I'm not. It's not. I don't see it as being as it was then.
I agree. And what do you think has changed a part of that? Because I agree with you. I think, so I'm 40, right? So I think men in my generation grew up hearing that. And I think even sometimes maybe how they raised their sons over time. But I think there's a generation now, like you said, that's a little more open to boys or men showing emotion in ways that are different. What do you think caused some of that? That we're more comfortable and accepting of letting people have emotion or be emotional?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Do you think it's a safe space for black men to be emotional? It
depends on what type of life you live in.
Explain that to me. I agree with you, but explain that to me.
You can't, certain type of lifestyles, you can't be soft. You can't show no emotions.
Yep, absolutely. Because I think when you show emotions in that life, sometimes the consequences are too great. Or
yeah, that's true. That could be one. or you're gonna do something you don't want to do. You're gonna have to do something you don't want to do.
Yeah. And so many of, because we're talking about black men, I'm gonna say black men. A lot of our black men have had sometimes to make a choice of following that life. You know, you mentioned it as a choice. I agree. In times, some people feel like I was just born into it. It was no other option for me.
And that's true. Some people are born into it.
Yeah. And then that softness you can't always show. So is there a way, or are there ways that you think, say a person who's in that lifestyle could show softness or emotion that's not the typical way?
I'm not gonna say they it is, but it's still not gonna be like, it's gonna be disguised. You're not gonna just, you're gonna have to understand and really know that person to know, you see what I'm saying, that's what's going on, but.
I agree.
No,
Yeah.
you still can't, it don't matter what it is.
I agree. Absolutely. Now, another part of the conversation that we have had is about how experiencing so much loss over time, or loss in general as a black man, impacts sometimes the relationship and the interaction between the black man and the black woman. Because sometimes she's looking for him to be maybe a bit softer or more understanding, or to talk more, or to open up. And what do you think black women need to know about black men and your emotions and your mental health? What do black women need to understand?
We are not the same.
That's a fact. Okay. Okay. And tell me what you mean by that.
Just like women want that. They love emotional stuff. We not.
Right.
We not that. Like, so for us not to show it, you can't get mad at us for not showing something that you want us to show. Like, it don't work like that. Your healing process is with your homegirls and crying and showing emotions. That's not my healing process.
That's a good example. Absolutely. So I think, one of the issues sometimes in that I own as a black woman is, at times, maybe I have wanted your healing process to look like mine, because maybe I think mine is better, right? Or I think it's better because I'm releasing more emotions, not thinking about the fact that you're doing the same. It just looks different. Right. You said it. We are not the same. Absolutely. Okay. That's true. And I think what's important, I hope people who are watching this hear you say, neither one is better. We're just simply not the same. So now, let me say this to you. I really, really appreciate you being here and talking about this, because here's what, it's not easy to talk about loss, number one, but it's not easy to talk about what we call chronic loss, which is when you lose a lot of people. And to acknowledge that a part of that has made me numb, right? Because some people view numbness and think, well, why are you telling somebody that you're numb or that you don't have feelings, et cetera? But you said something earlier, which was, sometimes I can't be there for that person because I'm in a space where I need somebody there for me, or I'm going through my own. Because healing, people tend to think that healing is A to Z and never return. It's not. We go A to Z, we might come back to M, we might go to P. It's a process and it's a circle. It's going to ebb and flow, especially when we lose more than one person. So I'm going to ask you to end with this. What are 3 things that you want black men to know about healing, mental health, or how to deal with just life?
The first one I could say is, don't let nobody influence you to do anything because you're in the emotional state. That's one.
Absolutely.
Like I said, I really can't tell you like how to do it because I mean, I done been through it, but I'm still going through it. So it's not like I don't have the answers, but.
Absolutely.
And see, like, honestly, I stayed to myself for a long time, like years. Like, I'm talking about years. Like, I really just stayed to myself. So that's two things. Like, get your own mind right.
Yeah.
Can't nobody get your mind right but you.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's it. That's all that I can think of.
No, you know, it's a theme, and that theme is, and it's something that I've heard quite a bit, which is for Black men, and I think this is important for us to understand as women, sometimes your healing involves isolation. It involves having to be in your own space. And we do need to understand that, because that doesn't look the same for us. It doesn't feel right. Because I think what happens is we take your isolation.
Need a shoulder to cry on.
Absolutely. So we take your isolation as you rejecting us. And I've heard this so much lately that I can say this for me. This is Dr. Tasha, whatever the case may be, I'm a Black woman. I have not necessarily considered that. I don't know that I've considered that you do need space, because your space is not about me. Your space is about what you said, which is getting your own mind right. Because I think what happens then is you're getting your mind right, and you come back in and I pounce on the fact that you haven't been there, because it's about me now. But everything you got right has now been undone. And I can own, that is a part, that's my stuff too, of your isolation, your getting your own mind right, has nothing to do with you not being a shoulder for me to cry on. It just means I can't cry on your shoulder right now, because you got to get your own self straight. Yeah. And that is extremely helpful, I think, for us to know, and I think for men to know, is that sometimes you really do. You know, you think about, we say this, you know, when you're on a plane, the first thing you hear is, if the oxygen mask comes down, put yours on first before you help anybody else. We say that to us as women all the time. You got to take care of you. And I think we forget you all in that conversation, that you do have to get your own mind right before you're able to help us. So I want to thank you for telling me that, reminding me of that. I'm going to cite my sources and say you said it. And I'm going to swallow my pride and try. I'm going to try. I'm going to swallow my pride and own that. Because I own that for myself. So, Rodney, I thank you for being here. I appreciate you sharing so much with me. And I think people are going to watch this and they're going to connect with what you're saying. And I think they're going to take away the message that you're conveying. So I really appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Hi everyone, it's me, Dr. Tosh. Thanks so much for tuning in to our Operation Heal series, all on Black men and mental health. I hope you've enjoyed. Now, first I want to make sure we thank our sponsor, Noisy Tenants, for this wonderful series. Don't forget to come down to our house here in Baltimore and grab a Noisy burger. Stay for community, food, and culture. Now, in order to watch us, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, and that's youtube.com/Wiley Funeral Homes. Or you can follow us or go to our website at www.wileyfh.com/Operation Heal. Again, thank you so much for joining us with this special series on Black men and mental health. I look forward to more conversation with you, and I look forward to healing. I'll see you soon.